So friends, we have seen that in our last session we have seen the inbuilt services like timeout and interval. In this session we will see the log services and we will use that in our program. So as you can see that here we have written all the common code which we have been using throughout our session. So here I have included the AngularJS file and I have written the angular.module, made a L1 module, used a controller and CNTR controller I named, and inside my div I have used this ng app is equal to L1 and the controller is CNTRL. Okay, so let's create a variable in controller. Okay, let's name it $scope dot guest is equal to Kolkata Knight Riders. Okay, and now print it inside my div, that is say h1 tag, and print it over here that guest, and write today's guest team is guest. Okay, now save it and now run it. So you can see that today's guest team is Kolkata Knight Rider. It is coming very fine. Now what we will do is we will use an inbuilt services to change its guest name. Okay, and for that what we will use the service name is timeout. Okay, this service we will use. So what is timeout service? Timeout service is what? It is a kind of service which execute after a provided time span which you will provide by while you are writing the definition for timeout function. So after that time period, this particular function of this service will execute. It is very similar to your JavaScript timeout service, or you could say it's the same as your JavaScript timeout functionality. Like you have you must remember, if you have done some coding in JavaScript, that there is something like window dot set timeout. Okay, and inside this set timeout it takes two parameter. First is it takes exactly 4 or 5 parameter I think, but mainly we will use 2 parameter. Okay, so first parameter it takes is function, and then the second parameter is name is it takes a time span, means after this time duration the function body would be executed. So if I want to execute this function after 5 seconds, then what I will write, 5000 means 5 milliseconds, which is terms as 5 seconds. Okay, so and inside this function I will write my line of code. Okay, so in this manner my set timeout for JavaScript works. So the same thing we will achieve in AngularJS using the service timeout. So AngularJS provides you this timeout services which performs same task as this JavaScript functionality set timeout does. Okay, so for using our inbuilt services timeout, what we need to do is we just need to inject this service inside my controller. So this is my controller. It takes 2 parameter. First is controller name, second one is function, and here I will inject that service. So how to inject? Simply write that timeout service as it is, like this. Done. So here timeout services I have injected. Now this controller can easily access the functionality of this timeout services. So how to use that? Simply write $timeout. As I told you, it takes 2 parameter. First one is function and second one is your time span. Let's say it's 4 seconds. Okay, So now what I will do is I will rename this guest as something else. Okay, so this I would do inside this timeout functions. Okay, so what I will do is scope dot guest is equal to, say, Mumbai Indians. So now what will happen, that when I will execute this program, it will show initially that today's guest team is guest, that is Kolkata Knight Rider. But after 4 seconds, what it will do, it will go to this function and it will assign this value inside this guest variable, and then it would be bind inside your h1 tag. Okay, so here it would be changed to Mumbai Indians. So how many times, after how many times it will display? After 4 seconds, as we have given your time slot as 4000, that is 4000 millisecond, which is equal to 4 seconds. Okay, so let's save this program and let's run it. So here you can see that today's guest team, it was earlier Kolkata Knight Riders and now it is Mumbai Indians. Okay, so friends, this is all about your inbuilt timeout services. So let's move to another inbuilt services, that is interval. Okay, so how to use that services? So keep it as it is, and I will use now interval service. So what is the role of interval services is, what it does exactly. Interval, as it sounds like something interval is going on. Okay, like after a certain period of time you repeat some functionality. Okay, suppose I want to repeat a message with every second, every 2 seconds. Okay, so every 2 seconds I want to display a message in my browser, in my web page. So for that reason, what I will do, I will use this concept, that is interval. Okay, I will use this inbuilt services. So by using this interval services, what we need to do is we will simply inject that inside my controller. Okay, simply write interval, and in my interval function, what I will do, interval, it takes 2 parameter as that of timeout. Let's, the interval would be 2 seconds, and inside this interval what I will do, that I will display a message, say scope dot update, okay, is equal to, say, blank. And now let's assign some value inside controller and say, please update your browser. Sounds good. Okay, so and now use this variable inside your div like this. You'll simply write update. Okay, save this program. So what will happen is, when you will run this program, it will assign this value, that is please update your browser, inside this variable. Okay, and after 2 seconds, as 2 seconds will go, it will assign blank, means you won't be able to see this. Again after 2 seconds, what will happen, you will see this value, that is please update your browser. You understood? Okay, so what I have done, that I have declared this variable assigned a blank inside this interval. So what will happen when you will run this, it will show you blank. So once it will assign this blank inside this variable, so with every tick it will show you blank, means nothing will be show. Okay, so for that you won't be able to understand this. So for that reason, let's run and check how it is working right now. Yeah, you can see that it came and go. Okay, so this what it happens, what does happen is that after 2 seconds that value blank assigned to that variable, and that is repeating. So my value is now blank, which is repeating, is that it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so what I will do is we will increment some value so that we can see that how it is working. Okay, so please scope dot update is please update your browser. Okay, and in this variable we will set a count, like count is equal to plus plus. Okay, and declare this count in my controller is equal to 0. Okay, so by using count you would be able to understand more wisely that how this is working. So in this case what we'll do, that we will use count. Okay, so see, now I will run this program and what will happen, check. See, save it and now run it. So you see that today's guest team is Kolkata Knight Rider, and after 5 seconds it's changed, and here in here you can see that it is increment is working by every 2 seconds. Okay, so if I want to increment it after 5 seconds, what I will do is I will write 5. So with every 5 seconds it will increment. See, 1 2 3 4 5. It's changed, it's also changed again, 1 2 3 4 5.
So friends, we have used log services, and in our next session we will use factory.